Joni, I'm glad you're joining in for the first time. Welcome.
Okay, Erin, passing it over
Okay.
to you.
All right. Welcome, my friends. My name is Erin Fugate, and I'm one of the founding essential oil educators from the Visionary Leaders Collective. And this is Oil Talks. If this is your first time tuning in, what we're doing here is we got hit with quarantine and this virus, and everybody had to stay home, and we all got scared, and we figured it's time to make sure people know how to use oils. Because you know what? The oils smell nice, and you can put them in your diffuser, and you can pull them out once in a while for a headache. The truth is, it's when you use the oils every single day, small, frequent daily doses, and you know how to use them in an emergency, and you know how to use them for recovery, that you really start to see the power. So we decided to do these live, unplugged, uncensored, not available for replay calls where we got together and we taught you what the oils really can do. And so please put it in the chat if you've been loving these calls and you've been learning so much. I know I have. Now, because we're not sharing the replay, we've been making the notes available for you. And so if you go to hellovisionary.life under Oil Talks, you can get the notes, and we get them up within 24 hours. So just know if we share a book or a resource, or if there's a PowerPoint, or there's a research paper, we're going to link that up on the website for you so you can go and grab all of that. We have a very special call today. I'm so excited about the content and the presenters. But before I introduce them and we jump into it, I want to make sure you know that there's something very special going on this week with doTERRA. It is called a BOGO week. And if you don't know what a BOGO is, I didn't until I joined doTERRA. BOGO is buy one, get one free. So they're doing a special sale this week where every day there is a buy one oil, get one oil free. And you can really up your collection of oils for an incredible price. The BOGO today is buy Citrus Bloom, get pink pepper for free. So if you purchased, well, first of all, you can't purchase both of these oils. Citrus Bloom is not available for purchase. It was a Mother's Day promo last year that everybody went wild over, and we haven't been able to buy it since. Pink pepper you can purchase, but so if you were able to purchase both of these oils, it would be about $55. You can get them both today for $24.50. So we're going to thread the oils throughout the whole call so you can learn some special things about them. But I just want to start off by saying that Citrus Bloom is so much more than a beautiful aroma. It is a beautiful aroma. I love it in my diffuser. It just smells like springtime. But what you might not know about Citrus Bloom is it was the inspiration for Adaptiv. Because people started using Citrus Bloom and they were seeing that their depression was going away, their mood was being uplifted. Kids that had behavioral problems were just being completely changed by Citrus Bloom. So it is magical for your mental health. Absolutely magical. And you can think of it in a lot of the same way that you use Adaptiv, but even more so when it's really the depressive feelings that take you down. So put it in the diffuser, add it to your body lotion, rub it all over your spine, use that bottle up. Don't hoard it like I do. I'm trying to learn how to not hoard it, like actually use it, because it's going to have profound effects on your body. Then pink pepper, we're going to talk about pink pepper more and more in this call, but I just want to say pink pepper is one of those unsung heroes that is so good for your body, and we forget about it. Everybody talks about frankincense, right? And frankincense is good for this, and frankincense is good for that. And you got to use frankincense if you're concerned about cellular health, if cancer is something that you're working through or working with. But I got to tell you that pink pepper is just as much of a powerhouse as frankincense. And it's going to tie into the subject of the call today, which is we're talking to you about application methods. Like, why would you use an oil internally versus topically? And pink pepper is one of those oils where it's actually going to be its most powerful internally. And I'm sure Dana's going to share a little bit more about that. So Josie, yes, I was going to just introduce you. Josie has a testimony about pink pepper, and she's going to share it with us. So take it away.
Thanks, Erin. Sorry. I love this oil so much. We go through at least 2 bottles a month in my household. Every morning I make a tea and I switch things up, but it almost always has pink pepper in it. My favorite is, I think I've shared this, is with frankincense, pink pepper. This is where I put my turmeric essential oil as well, and copaiba, and citrus oil like tangerine or clementine or something. And that's my baseline, and sometimes I'll add others. But why? Okay, it's amazing on like many different levels, but if you want to take home, it's, as Erin said, cellular health, anti-inflammatory, and boosting our defenses, our immune system against threats like viruses, all 3 of those together. So what we learned deeply at convention was it's very quickly, it's high in this constituent called alpha-philandrine, which is really special constituent, and that acts to protect and nurture cells so they don't get damaged from things like oxidation. It helps cells to divide it and in a healthy way and not go AWOL and mutate. So you kind of guess what that's really good for. We call this healthy cell mitosis and apoptosis. It's like healthy cells not going AWOL. And so we always, the old use, we know DDR is so amazing right now, but it's usually used for healthy cells. Well, we really recommend as that daily thing, DDR together with pink pepper. Or it's also incredible for neuropathies and our whole nervous system and inflammation there. So when you think about the AromaTouch blend and Deep Blue, always add pink pepper with it. It helps with some of those pain pathways and those neurons. So here you go. That's my 2 cents of the science. And like I use this oil all the time, and it's very mild, right? The big irony is that the pink pepper and the black pepper are super mild and, you know, in terms of oils. And so you can add them to something, and in whether it's hot, warm water, like a tea, or in a cold water or a seltzer, they're wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Josie. Yeah, that pink pepper is awesome. And just know in the back of your head that none of these BOGOs doTERRA's putting out are happenstance. They're giving us these oils on purpose. And if you are a little investigative detective, you will discover why doTERRA thinks we all need these oils in our house right now. So I'm going to introduce our special guests today. What we're speaking about is a very important subject, and it is this concept that there's many different application methods with essential oils, and understanding the different application methods will empower you and take your oil use to the next level. So I have David Watts and Dina Schwartz, licensed acupuncturists and herbalists, diamond wellness advocates on the Visionary Leaders team, to not only take us through a beautiful grounding exercise, but to also talk to us about the different application methods and how and why to choose each one. So Dana and David, please take it away.
Thanks, Erin. I'm really excited about the BOGO today too, all the BOGOs. I can't wait for our boxes to come. And I've been really grateful for these calls and the notes. It's been super helpful. You know, I'm from New York, so I have a lot of friends in New York who know someone has the virus, going through the virus, and this has been a powerful resource. One of the things that when Erin and I were talking about us showing up today, one of the things that we were talking about was like, we are giving so much juice, but what if we actually took a few steps back and just step by step went through the different options? And it made me think about a resource that David and I have as acupuncturists. You know, as acupuncturists, our foundation is working with what we call qi and energy. And so we wanted to take you through a little bit of this exercise called the Golden 8 and a little bit of history as to why because your body works best by healing itself with every breath we take, right? Every breath we take. And then our oils help our body do that process. So we can have some tools with just our bodies. So I'm going to just open up and share my screen for a moment and just take us through a little talk about that. So sometimes it seems simple when we talk about methods, but actually having really good results with our oils really does have necessary to feel confident, to feel comfortable, to develop skills for these effective results. So every single person on this call here, if you're feeling iffy, you're not sure, I highly recommend scheduling some time with the person who introduced you to the oils, or keep asking for some one-to-one time. Sure, these calls are great, but let's get effective results with our oils. Why we're folding in the Qigong here is because, I go to next screen here.
Just click it.
There we go. Imagine what would happen if we recharged our body as often as we do our phones, right? So what if we were able to recharge? And so what Erin was talking about was using our oils every day for health and wellness, and giving our bodies a really good way of knowing how to heal. And so Qigong is a really beautiful practice for that. So many of you don't know what Qi is. And so I have my husband, David, here, who has been working with Qigong a long time. And we're actually going to move our bodies a little bit together with the oils on ourselves. So what would happen if we recharged our body every day? Putting pink pepper in our water, putting citrus in our water, applying the oils on acupuncture points, moving our body gently and restoratively. So we're at a phase right now where many people are in the process of actually recovering. They've had the virus. And we make suggestions like go take a walk, or maybe go do a little yoga practice, and maybe that's too much. So something like Qigong, everyone can do. Some oils. So I want you to lather yourselves in oils right now. And I'm giving you options, okay? But the florals and the evergreens are going to most support our lung and hearts. That's the exercise we're gonna do. So I believe Ariana and Diane showed us some really beautiful acupuncture points in the weeks before, right here, where the shoulder meets the chest and under the clavicle, a pretty big zone. Now, as an acupuncturist, I'm not so particular in telling you exactly the point. I just want you to lather that oil on your chest. Get it in there. That's what's most important. So you can do any of these. You might want to dilute them. The precious petals, maybe many of you got. So any of those florals, you might want to then add on breathe or frankincense. The heart meridian comes down the inner arm channel all the way here. So this is a really beautiful place on the wrist, inner wrist crease, the inner arms. We're just opening up the body because we're going to open up the body. You ready, David?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is Qi? Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is David. For those of you I don't know, David Watts. Thanks, Dana and Erin. I'm just going to move that to the side so you can see. So this is a cool image I found. This is an image of kind of what we're going to be doing real shortly. So no foreshadowing, but I wanted to, okay, thanks. So what is Qi? So many of you may have heard of Qi before, but for those of you who've heard it but don't really know what it is, Qi is a Chinese word for our life force. And it's not just in us, it's in everything. It's in plants and rocks, in the trees, in the air. And it is a paradigm through which we can measure health in the body. And we have this ability to tonify our own Qi through practices. And Qigong is a very, very powerful practice. You may have heard of Tai Chi. Tai Chi is similar. Tai Chi is more of a long series of movements. And Qigong is a little more static. And if you've practiced this before, even though Tai Chi might be more popular, Qigong is actually a little stronger in cultivating Qi. So Qi can also be thought of as something like prana. If you're a yogi, prana and Qi, a strong similarity. Many of you may have heard of the word mana. the life force. I think that's from like the Pacific Islanders. It's what's in all of our foods. So mana, prana, chi are very synonymous. So I'm gonna advance the slide. So we're gonna do some Qigong. Today we're gonna do a form called the Archer, which is really benefits the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. So it's gonna increase blood flow and blood supply up to the neck and head. And this is really great, especially for how much time we've all been spending on computers, you guys. This is like the perfect thing. In addition to tonifying our lungs, and specifically chose this really because of the threat of any kind of respiratory infection right now. So this is really to tonify our lung qi and our overall energy in our body. This Qigong can also increase bone and muscle strength, and it's very calming, very grounding, and it's safe for all ages. So what we're gonna do, we recommend to do at least 3 rounds twice a day. Ideally, you wanna do 9 rounds twice a day. So really wanna keep focused on quiet thoughts, breathing deeply, tranquil, and the oils are all gonna help with this internal journey while doing a physical practice. All right, so let's go to the next image. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to just point out that allowing the thoughts to come and go and being tranquil is really key part of cultivating our chi. So we can't mute. So anytime a disturbance happens, like a noise, right? It happens all the time. We just had it. It can disrupt that cultivation process, and then we just bring ourselves back. So calming the mind is just as an important part.
All right, so if everyone, you can do this seated, but if you're willing to get up and stand up, everyone, just stand up. I'm gonna walk you through. Here's a quick image of what we're gonna be doing. And then Dana and I will actually guide you through the process. This is called the Archer. All right, so I'm gonna stop the share so you can see us. Where'd it go? Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. So hopefully you can, I'm gonna speak a little loudly just to make sure you can hear me. And you can see us, we've got our fisheye lens, so you can see our whole room. This is kind of cool. All right, so we're gonna get in a horse stance. So a little bit wider than shoulder width, and you want just a soft bend in the knees. And this is really where you can make this as intense or as easy as you like, depending on how much you want to get weight in your legs, okay? We're gonna have our hands just right here, and slowly sweep them up, your right hand closer to your chest, just about 6 inches from your chest. And just hold this pose for a moment, tuning in, grounding, breathing. And you're gonna make a slight fist with your right hand and start to spread your arms open with your left hand. I'm gonna do it opposite for you so you can follow me. Left hand in the hand at a 90-degree angle, and feel your chest open. Breathe in, exhale. Come in with left hand closer. Right hand, yeah. Don't worry about Mary. Now the other side. Inhale, exhale. And then you just, a slow, easy flow. Inhale, like you're pulling back a bow, a string on a bow. Exhale, into the middle. Now look at your middle finger. When you pull that bow, look at your the finger that's pointing straight up, like you're pushing the mountain away from you. Exhale. Inhale, pushing that mountain away. Focused, calm mind. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Slow and smooth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 1 last round. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Right here. And then press down and stand up. Encircle your arms just to open up the shoulders, down the middle. And then you can just shake it out a little bit. Okay.
I want you to show them this part.
So just thanks everyone for jumping in on that. Just showing you a little more detail on the hand position. The arm is actually straight like that. So it's not like this or like this, it's straight.
And this hand.
And this hand is 90 degrees.
You see how mine's not? Right? So that's something to work on, right? And then you can start to see like different areas that have more space, don't have space. So there's nuances and depths to it, but we really recommend trying to practice this morning and night.
Great for the lungs, great for the heart. Thanks everyone. I think we'll open up for a quick Q&A. You want a whole session, Aaron? All right. Yeah, well, this is one of 8. This is out of a series of medical Qigong called the Golden 8. And each one is targeted at a different organ system. So these are things that we prescribe to people, but right now we thought we'd share one. And Dana's going to share the image again, I think.
Yeah, someone's asking for it.
Oh, right on.
And remember,
Great.
these will come, we will have this presentation coming towards you. And we have it actually all written out. It comes from this book called The Healing Art of Qigong, and we'll have that in the notes for you.
Here's a quick look. There's that image. So thanks again, everyone. I know we have a lot to cover with oil applications, so we'll move on from here and let Dana take over. And I'll join from the other room. How about that?
So I just want to reiterate that that's safe for everyone. Pregnancy, I love that you loved it, Erin. It's such a good thing for you to do at this stage. And it's safe for anybody, even somebody who's stuck in a wheelchair can do Qigong. So those of you that are in the process of recovering or maybe know someone, this is a really good practice. There are many kinds of healing Qigongs. This is the Golden 8. Any questions before I move on? I'm also curious.
I have multiple requests for a full session, so promote that.
You know, I think David and I will put together a little Qigong series, since it doesn't look like we're getting out of quarantine anytime soon. So we will, yes, oils and Qigong. Okay, done. Is one round both sides? Yes. That's one round. Thank you. Yeah, good. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You never know. Qigong. So what, oh, someone's sharing screen.
The
Wild West. The Wild West. So I did want to take a moment before jumping into all the applications and seeing if anybody here on the call has any remaining leftover questions. We've been moving through the depths of so much brilliant material. I mean, my goodness, we have been given so much. So I just wanted to make myself available at this moment in the call if there's anything that needs review. Be brave. I'm not going to pause too long. Okay, well, if you do, chat them through and think about it, because I'm sure while you're home and you're trying some things, you have questions that come up, and we're here together, and we have so many valuable resources that are here together with us. So remember that image, charge yourself, plug yourself in as much as you can, as much as you're charging every time you charge your cell phone, what if you charged yourself too, right? So just keep that in mind. So now we're going to talk about uses. And aromatic use is probably the history of, you know, a lot of people still say aromatherapy, right? And I think of aromatherapy actually now as all 3 ways of using our oils. Remember, all 3 ways are aromatic, topical, and internal. And when we speak about this, we're only speaking about doTERRA essential oils. I know all of you have them. That's why you're here on the call, but I need to always say that because it is really important that we never make these kinds of recommendations for another brand, because we just don't know what's happening in there. And aromatically is one of the more powerful, quicker ways to impact the mood, but also to impact the respiratory system. And what we've been doing here in these oil talks has been very specific about certain oils. And I just want to say this to you all. You really can't go wrong diffusing essential oils for your system, right? You can, if you're diffusing them, you're cleaning the air and you're helping your body really process whatever it's processing out. I got to hear a Dr. Hill talk during this time to Australia, where he doesn't have to be as restrained as he does here. And everyone was asking him, which oil for what? And he said, diffuse citrus oils. Just diffuse your citrus oils. Rotate them around. It really doesn't matter. So diffusing is probably the top aromatic way. But then we also have the tent method. And when I say tent method, that means, and I'm going to show you with spearmint, another one of our BOGO oils, one of our, I think it's another one of our unsung heroes, actually. Ariana has a really wonderful call on this oil. Spearmint is wonderful to actually break up phlegm. So it's a really helpful one that you can put on your lung points and do if you're feeling like you have some phlegm left. So a tent method is you just oiled your whole chest up with oils, right? So this is a tent. It's actually topical and aromatic, right? So you might dilute it. We'll talk about that in a minute. So this is going to get into the brain cavity, the sinus cavity really quickly, right? Also steaming is going to get into the brain, up into the sinuses. Versus if we were to take a capsule internally, and we'll talk about that, wouldn't get up here like those aromatic compounds, right? So that's kind of understanding, oh, we're going to diffuse today. That's working that skill of being more masterful with getting into the cranium, getting into the sinus cavity, getting into the lungs, breathing them in. It's an aromatic application. So I have here two ways of steaming. One way is a little bit more gentle. You just fill this cup up with a little bit of warm water and whatever oils you choose. We have lots of great recipes. Our traditional recipe would be things like melaleuca or tea tree oil, peppermint, oregano or thyme, just to open up the air pathways, right? But let's say you can't breathe and you can't you're like, I can't, and I've heard a lot of this. I can't breathe, I can't do a steam. Well, then you might actually do a bigger steam where you have a big bowl and you create a towel and a tent method. Now, I do recommend moisturizing your face and covering your eyes when you do this, okay? Even your lips. And then you can open up your mouth and breathe them in that way. And that's a little more of an intensive way. Now you have the shot. Yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, could you stop screen share and do that again for people? Because some people can only see the slide and they'd love to see what you mean with your mug.
Ah, I can see people and my screen, so I didn't realize that. Okay, thank you. So mug, this is more of a, actually these days I've been doing steams more preventatively and I've been recommending them more preventatively. So it's like a gentle, deep breathing, right? You fill your mug up with some warm water, you add the oils of your choice. You wanna have one that's very opening, like peppermint or spearmint is a little gentler. And then some of those antis, right? The antibacterial, antivirals. You can breathe that in. Now, if you can't breathe at all, that's the method where I would recommend a bowl and a towel where you, I wish I had one here, where you just literally make a tent and you cover yourself in that. And I recommend putting moisturizer on your face, your lips, closing, making sure you either put a washcloth in front of your eyes and taking it in this way. This way you can open your mouth and breathe it in and you're gonna get it in there. So another way that you can also get it in there if you can't really breathe is to go into a hot shower. Even just putting, I actually keep Breathe in my shower every day. Breathe and eucalyptus are in there. And you just drop a couple drops in there and you have your own spa at home. This is also a really good method to do with children, because you're not going to have a child really stay so still to do a steam this way, but they'll go in the shower with you. It's also a great way to work with a baby, right? Is to go into when things are really severe and they can't breathe. This is a really positive way. Erin, have you done that? Have you done that steam?
For sure. For sure. If she's super stuffed up, I put her in the shower and do breathe on the bottom of the shower floor. There's also a DIY on the doTERRA website for shower melts. So you can make these little cubes with breathe in them if you want.
Yeah, I love the shower melts. They just don't last that long because I use them all up. So the shower floor is a really great method, particularly when you can't get the oils in any other way for like a young child. And we have our hands. Our hands are excellent diffusers, friends, okay? Sometimes, like I've been working with a patient in New York, she has breathe and frankincense and peppermint, that's it. That's all she has. She doesn't have a diffuser or anything. And the oils have been helping her so much, right? By just breathing them in or doing the tent method, or even doing steams or showers. Okay. Now there are inhalers that people make. I personally don't have any experience for it. I put it on I'll open back up the PowerPoint in a moment, but does anybody here have an experience with using the essential oil inhalers? Yeah? Do you mind coming through and sharing a 2-second share about what that's like? Anybody? I see Diana waving. Diana Reynolds. Aisha, can you unmute? Oh, there she goes.
Okay, I use the inhaler. I have spearmint and breathe in mine, and I have asthma. So in the morning, the first thing I do is grab the inhaler before I even get out of bed, and it really seems to open me up in order to actually get me out of bed. And if I feel a little bit stuffed up at all, I've had a sinus infection going since October. I've been using it a lot. Normally, I don't use it except first thing in the morning, but I'm using it a lot now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So all of the essential oil tool sites, I've seen them there. That's where, if you're curious about them, that's where you can get them. Erin, maybe we can put up a link for something like that in the talk. Okay, cool. Then there are actually jewelry. You've probably seen diffusing jewelry. This is also great for children. Right? So you can put a little bracelet on them or a little necklace on them to impact their mood, support them with anything they're going through. And, we don't have children of our own, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I know that they're having a hard time right now. And so using the oils that way, so getting a little diffuser jewelry might be a sweet way. And then there are CPAP applicators. Right, so this is something I get to talk about here that maybe I couldn't share in other places. But CPAPs are for sleeping at night for people who have difficulty with breathing, and you can actually add an essential oil applicator to that. It's quite important that you find that, because we need to make sure it's a plastic safe, right, or it's safe plastic for essential oils. So make sure you just do a little research in that for CPAP applicators. David is actually the one who told me about that, so he might have some more information on those. Any other fancy, less known, talked about aromatic methods that anybody knows here? Because we've got a lot of educators on the call.
Yeah, I just want to mention, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll go next.
I use a fume stick, and so it looks like a wooden cigarette, and it has a cotton wick, and you put your oils on there, you fray the edges, you put your oils on there, and that has replaced my Ventolin inhaler. And it's made in Canada, and you can get them in the States as well.
What's it called again, Sue?
Fume, F-U-M.
Thank you, awesome.
Redefined Health by Fume. And it's a company of young men that have done this. They're in their early 20s.
And Erin, you had something you were going to share, I think.
I was going to mention the difference between a diffuser and a nebulizer. And so what we have mostly at doTERRA are diffusers, and that's where you use water and it fills the room with that aromatic mist. we used to sell nebulizers. I don't think we have them anymore, but you could still find a nebulizer if you needed it. And a nebulizer diffuses pure oil, no water. So it's very concentrated, and that's when you need to get it super deep in your lungs, because when it's diffusing, nebulizing, the aromatic molecules become smaller and lighter, and they can actually make it deeper into your lungs than any other method. So if someone was in bed with a serious lung issue, I would consider getting a nebulizer. You don't run it for hours at a time. You run it for short, 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes every hour. And I'll try and hook up a link to a good nebulizer on the website.
Great, Erin, thank you. Anybody else? No, let's go into the next one. Okay.
1 second.
Oh,
1 second. I had my hand up, but I guess that doesn't get seen, not easily seen. I use nasal inhalers. And so, but what I do is, and you can buy these by the dozen and they're very inexpensive. There's a cotton wick inside. And I put my hand around the top like this. And so you have a hole to the nasal inhaler, and I inhale it touching my mouth, you know, to my hand, not the nasal inhaler. And I inhale it deeply. And what I have in here is On Guard, Breathe, and Basil, I believe. And I can get it all the way down into my lungs. And it's just an awesome feeling, and it opens everything up. And I gotta believe it also helps provide some antiviral bacterial protection into the lung as well. But regardless, it's very effective. And you can also use it nasally the same way. And you just do pranayama breathing on both sides of the nose. That's my tip.
thank you. Thank you. Will you mute yourself for us just in case for a clean recording?
Dana, I also have a little testimonial. Can I share?
Great. Yeah, please. We have time.
Well, I love the power of diffusing, and I've of course been using essential oils for years. When I brought my first dog home, Pepper, she had really severe anxiety and she would not leave the bedroom. And so I started diffusing Serenity in the bedroom all day for her to help her with her anxiety. And not only did it help her, but I've also had kind of sleep issues for years. And I found that I started falling asleep faster. And when I wake up at that like 4 a.m. hour and my mind is racing and I have a hard time falling back to sleep, I would fall asleep faster. So I really realized the impact of diffusing all night by my bed. And now it's part of my nighttime routine. I always put some oils in my diffuser and I just run it all night long. And I can really tell the difference on the nights that I do run my diffuser versus if I forget to run my diffuser, and the quality of my sleep. So I just can't say enough how impactful and helpful that has been. So if you know anyone with sleep issues, if you have sleep issues, I also take the Serenity gel caps, and I personally love the Adaptive at night with that as well. But that's just made a world of difference in my sleep.
I also love to diffuse first thing in the morning. So I use my diffuser. I'm like you. I should have the same sleep cycle. Not surprising. Or at that 4 a.m. Sometimes I just get up at 4 actually. But the diffusing is really, really wonderful for that. And then there is that other layer of taking the oils internally, right? So we're going to talk about that too. It just started really storming here. So hopefully all is well with the reception, like really storming. I'm going to go back and just share my screen. And you know, we could talk about aromatic use all day long. And I personally think it's one of the best things for our emotional state of being too. So just diffuse all day, friends, right? Like diffusing is not to be underestimated. So we also have topical, right? And so we already used topical today. And I just wanted to go through, and I know this is really detailed, but I really wanted to talk about the differences, and I'm going to call upon friends to talk about this too. So we have our touch line. So hopefully we all understand that touch means pre-diluted. So these are doTERRA's rollers that they come pre-diluted, and I'm so grateful for it because I'm not a huge make your own roller kind of person, right? You know, I know that it's a huge thing in doTERRA and I like it, but I love the fact that we just get those rollers right away. So yesterday's BOGO, I was all about the frankincense and the neroli. Those were both touches, and those are both amazing, amazing support for us emotionally and cellularly. Like really incredible. You could use those two oils in that Archer exercise, which would be a really good companion, and maybe layer a little Breathe on top. Then there's the do-it-yourself rollers. There are so many recipes out there. There are so many ways to do it. And you can do it all, you know, doTERRA sells the little rollers. We also have companion companies that sell it. There are endless amounts of making your own rollers. And we have suggested in the past that you might want to make your own roller of some of the Symphony of the Cells techniques, which I'll talk about in a moment as well. But then there's layering. Layering oils topically versus rollers is kind of a big discussion. And I actually am going to call in my mentor, Erin, to talk about this because she's taught me a lot. You know, a lot of times people say, oh, you're an acupuncturist and you know everything. And I want to say that actually a lot of what I've learned has been here in doTERRA, and a lot of what I've learned is with Erin. So Erin, can you please also share about the layering versus the rollers?
Yes, thank you, Dana. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you because I think it's something that produces really profound results when you know the difference, and maybe it's a little under-educated on in the field. So rollers are great for ease of use. When you have a roller, you can throw it in your purse. They're really easy to get on a kid. Like when my toddler is running across the room, I can kind of swipe her with the roller where I can't get her to lay down and let me layer oils on her. A roller is also making a blend. So when you mix 3 or 4 or 6 or 20, whatever oils together, and they all blend up, it changes the chemistry because all those chemical constituents are blending together. So it's a great way to make a specific aroma or have an attribute that you're looking for. But when you layer, what you're doing is and this is a perfect example of layering is the Aroma Touch technique and the Symphony of the Cells. So I would say if you were to make a roller bottle blend of Aroma Touch, it would not have the same effect that the technique does. And if you did a roller bottle blend of all the oils in a Symphony of the Cell, sure, it would be good, it would have great benefits, but it wouldn't have the same effect as layering. When you layer, you're applying an essential oil, you give it about 20 seconds, and it's seeping in through the skin into the blood system. And then you put a second oil on, and you're letting each oil's chemical constituents affect the body on their own. Within 20 seconds of applying an essential oil, it has reached every cell of your body. So you apply that frankincense. Frankincense reaches every cell. Then we bring on Melaleuca, and we're driving the frankincense deeper into the body, and then the cells are able to respond to the Melaleuca. And then we keep layering, and you'll notice a lot of these layering practices end with peppermint. And it's because peppermint is a driver. So peppermint takes all the power of all that oil and drives it deeper into the cells. So if you have the time and the space, layering, in my opinion, is more powerful than using a roller. And even if all you can do is layer with a little fractionated coconut oil, so you put your Aroma Touch or Deep Blue on your back and then layer fractionated coconut oil on the top, even just that is going to help to drive it in further, because also the oils are very volatile in their ability to like diffuse. You lose a big percentage in the off-gassing. So you want to do the layering of either another oil or fractionated coconut oil. I hope that helps.
So helpful. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, so really it's a great practice even if you take that 5 minutes to just layer on if you have an injury. I see someone here said that they had an ankle injury and they moved into the layering versus just making up a roller and doing that. So it's all about learning how to take care of ourselves and the different options, right? So I started off this call with being more masterful about our choices of which way we're going to use the oils. So I'm going to bring back up that slide and go through a couple other topical ways. What? No, that's not working. There we go. Technology is my friend. That's my mantra. Technology is my friend. Technology is my friend. Okay. So also, Erin also did describe a little bit about the difference between neat and diluted in that conversation. Neat would be without any carrier oil at all, and it does not weaken the oil when we dilute. It also makes our oils last a little longer, and it does help them really absorb and go into the other layers of the skin, into the bloodstream. So diluting is our friend, okay? I skipped over compresses. Compresses are a really wonderful way to apply the oils. And right now, one of the things I've been recommending is frankincense and breathe on the chest with a warm washcloth. Just allowing the oils to seep in a little bit deeper. Now, water does intensify the impact of the oils, right? Remember, if we ever want to wash off the oils, we're going to use an oil like a fractionated coconut oil, a regular coconut oil. Even if you have none of those, run to the kitchen and get an olive oil. That's going to help you take it off. So water will intensify it. So this is a really great way of having the oils get into the lung cavity. Another place that we will maybe do some compresses as women is for during our cycles over our uterus for cramping, also for digestive issues. You can do different kinds of compresses. That's a really nice way of using the oils topically, right, on the outside for our skin. Remember though, everything we put on our skin is absorbed by our blood and goes internal. So we have these different methods. Wait, why would we choose something topically versus internally? Why would, let's just think about that for a minute. We might choose to go topically because we've been using the oils internally for a little while, and if we're not feeling very well, we may not actually have the capacity to take more oils in that way. So we might turn to a topical application. Another reason may be that somebody has an objection to using oils internally, right? This is a new idea, although it's not a new idea. It's actually very old. It's just a new idea for us here in the West. So we just might encourage people to start off using them topically and then develop that skill of really when to take them internally. Now baths, I've been on a kick of actually having a bath once a day right now. My favorite way of doing it is a cup of Epsom salt, adding some fractionated coconut oil in a bowl, and then adding the oils in. I find this way that all the oils comes onto the skin, not the side of the bathtub, right? So you don't even have that sticky bathtub, and it all goes right onto you. It's a really beautiful way to end the day. And so when you use Epsom salt, we're actually absorbing in the nutrients from that. But when we do a detox bath, I recommend using sea salt and a half a cup or a fourth of a cup of baking soda. And that's going to be more of a detox bath. That might be a time where we're going to use frankincense or even something like endocrine. Be careful with this endocrine. Maybe just do 1 or 2. I've had some stinging moments with that oil, but it's very powerful. I love to do that bath after flying. One day we will fly again. But you can also do that if, let's say, you're starting to feel like you're getting sick. This is one of the first things that I turn to is a detox bath. Go take a bath and detox. Now on the left-hand side here, I listed out the protocols of Symphony of the Cells and the Aroma Touch technique. And I wanted to just explain what those are because we've talked about them a lot, right? I'm seeing people laugh. I stopped sharing and I wanted to see your faces. Probably a lot of you know what they are because we've been offering you a lot of them. But I wanted to explain to you actually the difference between the two and why. So the Aroma Touch technique, I am an Aroma Touch instructor. There's probably quite a few here on the call. It was developed by Dr. Hill, and it is a combination of movements, rhythmically moving with some of our main oils. it's more like a 40-minute session, 30 to 40-minute session, okay? And you are layering the oils on like Erin suggested, and it's the same oils for every treatment. Whereas the Symphony of the Cells is a protocol that was designed by a man named Boyd Truman. You can look it up. There is a website, symphonyofthecells.com. You can get his little booklet. You can get some brochures, and you can learn about all of the different treatments that are there. And I don't know, I think there's about 15 in there. I don't know exactly how many. And they're for all kinds of things. They're for cancer, they're for high blood pressure, they're for inflammation, they're for all the things that we usually can't say that I'm saying here, and I still feel weird. But they are powerful. We have a friend, yeah, Josie. We have a friend who just went through a very powerful experience with cancer and did that Maxim protocol every week, sometimes 3 times a week, you know, and so it's very, very supportive for her. So Symphony of the Cells is also a shorter process. The movements aren't as important. It's very easy. You just layer those oils up on the spine, and actually they can breathe them in, and then you put them on the feet. I highly recommend taking a course, looking it up, checking it out. We have on our website, Josie showing how to do it to yourself, right? We have it everywhere on the website, on the different customer groups. Learn how to do that. That's a really powerful way. And it's a protocol versus I'm going to use this one oil topically for this moment. You're going to use it in a more contained process as a protocol. Does that help distinguish what those two are? Yeah.
Dina, Sandra Freeman made a really important comment too for people to know. It says
Great.
the aroma touch technique employs what is called enfleurage, which is known to be one of the most effective support to the parasympathetic nervous system. So I would just say if chronic stress is a big issue for you or your loved one, a weekly aroma touch could be incredible. Where Symphony of the Cells is great because you can go, oh, I have a respiratory issue right now, I'm going to do the respiratory protocol. So they're both wonderful, and I just really appreciated, thank you, Sandra, that she mentioned that.
Yeah, effleurage is a certain kind of body work. It's kind of massage stroke, just for those that are not familiar with that. And so those movements and that process of moving, Dr. Hill, he worked and traveled the world studying with different kinds of body workers to put together this process. He looked at the meridians for this process. So it does take into account lots of different visions of the human body and how to take the body from a place of irritation to stillness and calm. Yeah. Okay. So the last way, we're going to get into some fun applications. Let me find my, and I don't have pictures of the fun ways, but we're going to talk about them. For internal use, so I have this picture here because I do have this box and it's my life with all the supplements in it, and this is internal use. And our supplements, most of our supplements have the essential oils in them. This is what differentiates our supplements and working so well in our bodies. It's because the oils scrub off all the things that we don't want in our body, right? And so they just basically help take away what's not needed and help inform our bodies with all that delicious nutrients of the lifelong vitality, right? So this call is at a moment where we're talking about coming into health, into a full lifestyle. And so taking the supplements is part of a lifestyle. Josie gave incredible protocols with our supplements if, in fact, act as if you get sick or when you do get sick, and the supplements are such a key part of those protocols, okay? So we can take our doTERRA essential oils internally, many different ways. We can do them sublingually, which means under the tongue, okay? So this is Siberian fir. I've been using this a lot sublingually. It's one of the more gentle oils. But we can also use pink pepper internally. And this is one of those oils that I actually like to drink in my water, okay? Maybe, can you guys see me? Should I?
Can you stop the share again so we can see?
Yeah. Let me read through these ways, and then I'll stop the share, and then I'll stop the share so I don't jump back and forth. So we can do them sublingually. We can use beadlets, right? We have beadlets. We can use a shot glass. We can put them in water all day long. We can make our own actually capsules. doTERRA has soft gels. We can make, doTERRA has enteric soft gels that I want to talk about, and then we can make suppositories. So I'll stop my share because I realized that it's nice to see. So pink pepper and citrus in my water every single day. So like Josie, she does a tea. I am huge on the water. So I love to drink pink pepper in my water with green mandarin is one of my favorite citruses, or tangerine. And I'm going to talk about how to make the suppository in a moment. I see the question popping in. I know it's the most exciting, but I'm going to talk about all the others. So beadlets, we only have peppermint and On Guard and beadlets, but I love the beadlets. The beadlets are a great way to get these oils into the children, right? You can put them right into applesauce is a great way. And I know a lot of kids that just will take them and eat the beadlets, the On Guard beadlets. So it's a really great way to work with kids internally. I believe it's the 4th of a drop. Is that correct? Or 5th? About that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So a shot glass. The shot glass was actually the first way I started to use the oils internally. I had a little shot glass in my kitchen, and I would do frankincense and a couple other oils like tea tree oil, and I do a little shot glass. And it was before I really got into drinking them in my water. But this is a great way to go quick. Some of these are going to be used per personality, what we like. Some of these are going to be used because we need to get it in the body fast. So sometimes a shot glass is a great way to, boom, give that dose into the system, okay? Now, when we make our oils at home in a soft gel, we are applying them into these veggie soft gels, and they can sometimes get into the stomach and get beyond the stomach acids, but they're not as good as getting through the body as the doTERRA soft gels. Okay, so doTERRA has quite a few different pre-made soft gels. We have our Slim and Sassy soft gels. We have our DDR Prime soft gels, Copaiba soft gels, Serenity soft gels, right? We have a lot of different options there. If you're not familiar with the pre-made soft gels, I really encourage you checking them out. doTERRA has created them in a way for them to really absorb into our body. The delivery system is really an important part, right? So this is why we're talking about the applications, so that we understand and have really good results. So when we're taking the oils in soft gels, or the ones we make, or even the ones that are pre-made, they do have to go through the bloodstream and go, actually through the digestive system. Versus when we put them in our mouth or under the tongue, they go in much faster, but they may not get through and target the exact organ system that we're going for. So this is one of the differentiations between why we might take a soft gel or a pre-made capsule, or using the oil directly in our mouth. Also, I find that when we use the oil directly sublingually, we can impact the brain quicker, right? Also, I find, I didn't put this in the slide, but one of my favorite methods is the swipe method that we've been talking about with some of the stronger oils, where you swipe the side and then you push to the roof of your mouth. Or what I've been doing with the Melissa, honestly, is swiping it, and I like to put it on my gums, all in my mouth. Just fill that oil up because it's strong, right? Our Melissa essential oil. So I know that that's kind of minute details, but I think it's really important for us to understand, I need to get this in my body. Let me do it under my tongue. Let me walk you through an example of this. So David woke up this morning with a headache. This happens from time to time when he's been active and using his body. And in that moment, I told him to take the Copaiba under his tongue, also applied it on the back of his neck. And I wouldn't have told him to take a soft gel internally because I wanted him to move through that headache quickly, right? So he might take it later to just reinforce, but within about an hour, he woke up and the headache was completely gone. So it's a fast way of getting that Copaiba into his bloodstream. Does that make sense, the differentiation between the two? Yeah. So do you guys want to talk about suppositories as at the last minute? This always happens.
One quick distinction on under the tongue versus roof of the mouth.
So under the tongue we have, if you ever take some time, and I encourage you to take some time and look at your tongue and look under your tongue, you'll see you have some big sublingual veins there. So this is a really powerful way to access the bloodstream. I'm not going to show you underneath my sublingual veins, but you go look in the mirror and see, you're going to see these big bulging veins under there. So it's going to go straight into the bloodstream. Whereas the roof of the mouth, you're going to have more access to the sinus cavity and the brain, but also it's still going to go into the mouth, right? It's going to go into the whole full mouth. I don't know if anybody else has a different, more in-depth discussion on that. I'm open to hearing.
That's my main understanding, is roof of the mouth would go to the brain, under the tongue blood system.
I want to make sure everybody knows about the peppermint trick while we're talking about the roof of the mouth. This can be a game changer if you have stuffed up sinuses, and it will really help you experience the difference of roof of the mouth versus underneath the tongue. If you just take a drop of peppermint and drop it right on your, I have Slim and Sassy here, but I'll show you, right on your thumb like this, and then you take it and you hold it to the roof of your mouth for about 20 seconds, you can feel your sinus cavities open right up. It's a great thing to do if you know anyone with allergies or has a cold and they don't believe in the effectiveness of essential oils. You just have them hold it there and you'll just feel everything, and you'll feel it go right up into the sinus cavities and brain. Okay, just had to add that in.
Can I add in something quick?
Please, always.
So just because right now, a lot of seasonal allergies and everything, we've been talking about, like doing shot glasses and in the mouth or roof of the mouth. The key with an acute thing that's coming on like sinuses is frequency. So you got to commit to the oil use for 1 to 3 days at a really high frequency, and then it'll taper off. But if you just take a shot glass 2 or 3 times a day, that's not going to do it for the first few days. You have to, how they talk in medicine about loading doses? You got to think of it that way. You got to kind of load in for the first 1 to 3 days. And so when I'm first getting into it, I'll do my shot glass, and I do the lavender, lemon, and peppermint plus melaleuca. And then, thank you, Dr. Will Wan, I add cilantro. So I actually do 5 oils. And I do that shot glass or a gel cap, or I make a mixture and I do it to the roof of my mouth every literally 15 to 20 minutes for the waking hours of day 1, like a lot. And then it'll taper down over day 2, 3, and then it just keeps tapering down. But I just want to let people know that sometimes the applications, a real factor is to understand frequency.
So key, Josie, thank you. It's so key. And this is part of building up our confidence and understanding, right? And getting good results. So you hear, oh, I need to do a shot glass. And we have this mindset of 1 medicine a day, take 1 pill a day. And we think, oh, that's enough. And actually, no, it's not. It's not enough at all, because they go through our bloodstream so fast, okay? And if we're noticing that we're not feeling well and we've taken in a lot of oils and it's not absorbing or digesting, or we're feeling sick, then that's a sign to say, okay, I need to drink more water. I need to make sure I'm digesting things properly. Maybe I need to up my Terrazyme, right? This is something that I've learned from Josie. Also, we have the Zendocrine complex. That's a good thing to take at that point too, if we're not digesting and absorbing and moving through things. Now I know it's 1 o'clock. If you want to stay, I'm here because I want to talk to you about suppositories. It's one of the most powerful ways I've used the essential oils for lungs. And it happened actually, I did it year 1, but I'm an experimenter and I'm brave. I'm also half French. And so the French people love suppositories. And when I was a kid growing up, that's actually the way I received things for fevers, was as a suppository. And it worked really, really fast. So suppositories are through the anus, right? And what we can do is we can either get, there's those little silicone molds that you can make little teddy bears and gummy bears things. They sell them also for capsules. And you can fill them with coconut oil, or sesame oil is a really nice oil to do that with. You can put a few drops. I really recommend starting with frankincense. Frankincense is a very mild oil, and it's an oil that's received very well by the large intestine. And when we're doing a suppository, that is how we would do it. So you can make your own little molds. I've never done that myself. I've just heard of it. What I do is I go to a pharmacy and I ask them for their, what are they called? The syringe. They have plastic syringes, and that's how I have used it. So then you just fill up that syringe with the oil that you've made in a little bowl. You suck it up, lay on a bed or on the floor, put your legs up the wall, and then you can insert. I recommend laying that way or putting your legs up on the couch, laying that way in an inversion for a little while. Then you can visit the toilet if you need to afterwards. Most likely all of that oil, though, believe it or not, is going to be absorbed into your large intestine. Now, does anybody know why we're actually working with the large intestine in this particular time that I'm making the suggestion? So I'm a acupuncturist and an herbalist, right? So I think that way, and lung and large intestine are paired. So it goes straight to the lung, exactly. It is a really powerful way of treating the lungs. And this was, I had like a barking, nasty, nasty cough. David, do you remember? And it was like, it was not going away. And this was when I first had my oils. And I was like, I'm gonna just try it. And it really relieved that cough very quickly. And I've been thinking about it as I'm hearing about COVID, and I'm hearing about people not getting enough oxygen in, right? And not being able to breathe, and thinking about how beautiful would it be if everyone could get a little suppository of some frankincense in there and get their lungs really working. So how many drops of each in the syringe? So I used to do, like, when I did it, I think I did about 3 to 5. I didn't do that many. I don't have an exact recipe for you, but 3 to 5. Like, we're never using a lot of oils when we're going internally. So it's kind of the same as the mouth, right? So you don't need that much, but you might think about doing it more frequently if you feel a result. And I'm telling you, if you do this, you will feel a result. You really will feel it. Has anybody else had an experience of doing a suppository?
I can share a testimony, which is an epic one and totally non-compliant. So that's exciting. My friend called me up and she said, I'm just suffering, Erin. I have pneumonia and mono at the same time. And she just was basically on the floor, miserable. And so I went over to her house and I brought her some oils. And what I had her do was an anal suppository of frankincense. And I had her breathe over her chest and take On Guard in a capsule. And just like Josie's talking about, the breathe over her chest was very often. The On Guard was 3 to 5 times a day. And the suppository was twice a day. I don't think it took 24 hours before she texted me and said, I feel like so much better. That's amazing. And it just turned everything around for her. That's my testimony.
It's powerful, friends. It's really, really powerful. There are some things in the chat here, and somebody did ask, rectum or vaginal. So we're talking about rectal, to go to the large intestine, right? So that's what we're talking about. But there are actually vaginal applications. I've personally never done it. I don't suffer from yeast infections, but you can soak a tampon. You would want to use a natural organic tampon. I would soak it in coconut oil first, and then you can put a little tea tree on there. I've never done it, but I have had people tell me. Is there anyone here in the group that has had an experience of a vaginal suppository?
Dana, I'll speak to that while we're talking about these things. And one thing I want to touch on is oftentimes when the conversation of yeast infection comes up on oftentimes the pages, you'll have people say, oh no, don't use oils down there. They're too strong. And from somebody that has suffered from chronic yeast infections, from also the bacteria infections from all of it, from endometriosis. I've done it all. I want to tell you that when you're burning and itching and you have that intense discomfort, the essential oils are strong, but I have found that the tingling from Melaleuca to take away that itch in a way that is very relieving. And I've actually personally never soaked the oils in a tampon, so I can't speak to that. But what I do is I just put a little bit of coconut oil on my finger. I've done Melaleuca, frankincense, a little lavender, and then I just stick my finger up and kind of sloth it around several times a day. And I found that to be incredibly helpful. And then while we're talking about yeast infections, I also always recommend doing a round of GX Assist. So you're treating it internally as well as topically, and actually going through the cleanse, doing Zendocrine, GX Assist, followed up with the PB Assist. And I, having had chronic yeast infections for years, I don't get yeast infections anymore. And if I feel the slightest tinge of anything show up, I get really aggressive really fast. But these oils have made all the difference in the world in regards to having that be a chronic, and I mean chronic, problem for years. Josie?
I just want to add on, yes, all the internal, very important, but we've had so much success with making up your formula, which I can tell you some of the ones I like in a blend bottle, and then having that, and then using the little baby tampons, little regulars like the OBs, and every morning, and then you can just one that's not a roller, but that can squirt out like I use a dropper bottle, and you lightly saturate the tampon. And then that's what you insert, and you insert it for like half the day, whether you're doing it at night while you're sleeping or the day while is your choice. And doing that for like 5 to 7 days, and you can do alternations on and off depending on how chronic the issue is, in addition to all of the other internals. Really, really helpful for people. And I go with frankincense, lavender, melaleuca, and geranium. Those are my 4 definites. You can add others like juniper berry in there, I see in some of the citruses, but really those 4 are my go-tos, and in a good dilution. That's the key thing. You know, in about 1 ounce bottle, about 10 to 15 drops of each of those, somewhere in there.
Josie, was it frankincense, lavender, geranium? What was the 4th?
And Melaleuca.
Melaleuca.
Yeah, the Vagina Dream Team.
That should be the name of the blend. Vagina Dream Team.
Call it the Susie blend. I guess some people haven't heard that, but my mama's from the South, and in the South they call it the Susie. So it's a Susie blend.
That's awesome. We're getting one more question, and then we'll wrap up the call. A recipe for hemorrhoids. I do not have one. Does anybody have one here?
I have one. Helichrysum, geranium, and frankincense, and a little fractionated coconut oil.
I concur.
Sweet. Okay.
Thank you.
I would add to that hemorrhoid protocol from a Chinese medicine perspective. That's like a sinking of energy. Something right on the top crown point, just to raise the energy up, help pull all that dropping energy. So some frankincense on the top of the head might help too.
And can we add in for all of these lady issues of kind of spleen and prolapse, Tiffany Carroll's wonderful advice about just geranium. You can dilute it, not dilute it, on the whole inner, think about your foot, both sides, your feet, just the inner arch. So the inside, the inner arch of your foot, all the way up your inner lower leg to your knee. And just twice a day, I make a little mixture and I rub that all the way up, that whole inside of my leg and the inner foot. And we can go over that another time, but that's a really wonderful thing to add to all these issues.
And one more thing while we're on the topic. We love the topic. We are unhinged today. One more thing is Dr. Louise Rose talked to us about castor oil packs. For all of these issues, castor oil packs, castor oil packs, castor oil packs, all of the oils we've talked about right now, layer them on, put some castor oil on there. It will really help move, and help everything clear.
It's so good. Dana, this is great topics. And obviously we need a whole call on this subject.
We do. And
Did you have anything else to add in closing?
I did, and I just wanted to review that, give yourself time to really integrate all this wonderful information that you've been given in these oil talks, because truly, I mean, these are masterful protocols that you've been given. And today was really just about going over some of the recommendations a little bit more in detail and making sure that you're understanding how to use your oils. And it's just going to get better every time you use them, every time you try. Occasionally you make a mistake. It's not such a big deal. That's what's awesome about the experience of essential oils. So, you have your team pages to make sure to reach out. You have your support systems that you have to make sure you reach out. So please do. Here I am leading this call, sharing with you, and I didn't know a lot of the things, and I called upon my community, right? That's what we need to do, is we need to call upon our community. They are just as much of a powerful resource as the books and the webinars, and all of that is one another. So that's all I wanted to say. And Friday's call, maybe Erin wants to tell us a little bit more about that, but we have a really exciting oil talk on Friday. So I'll pass it back to you, Erin.
Yes, so now I'm just going to close up with some very special announcements about future educational opportunities and what is happening on our team with all of this. So first of all, we have a special announcement for you. At the beginning of these calls, we first thought we can't record them because we're going to be off the rails, unhinged, uncensored. Then we thought we have to record them because it's going to be too much goodness, but we're not going to share them because, we might say some stuff that we shouldn't be saying. Now we have decided to make all of the recordings available to you. So we want you to know that on April 29th, after the oil talks at 12 p.m., you can go to hellovisionary.life under the oil talks page and you will get all of the recordings. Now this is a gift because the other thing that is happening is it's time for oil talks, at least this edition, to come to a close. It's something that we wanted to do while we all were in the initial shock of COVID and quarantine, but as we come to the end of April, we are going to stop doing oil talks, and we have some continuing education opportunities that we're going to move into that will be incredible. So let me share them with you. First, this Friday, our oil talk is going to be an uncensored, unplugged, hot tips. We'll probably have some more of this like vagina, booty, Susie talk that day, I can imagine. But we're going to really dive into all those BOGO oils that you have, and we want to make sure you know how to use them. So promote this to anyone that got those BOGO oils. Come on the Friday talk, 4 p.m., and we're going to dive into that. We have essential oil community events, and they are being upgraded and improved. We have a weekly call. You can think of this weekly call as a mini oil talks. So if you've been loving what you've been getting here, put it on your calendar starting May 13th, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Come to our community call. We'll have 30 minutes of essential oil education like you've been getting on Oil Talks. It is the place to be if you just got your oils, if you're a longtime user. Make sure all your friends come to that, especially if they have doTERRA. Then you'll be invited to stick around for the second 30 minutes where we'll teach you the joys of sharing doTERRA in case you're feeling like, I really got to tell my mom and my sister about this, or maybe you're wanting to help pay for your oils and get those rebates. Then so many of you just loved Ariana Harley's presentation on grief. We have something sad though to report. That recording didn't work. So we are having an encore presentation of Ariana's grief webinar, which I have coming up in another link. But speaking of Ariana, she does a monthly webinar I want to make sure you know about. Oils A to Z, with special guests, Dr. Louise Rose and Mika Carew, and they go over an oil in depth. What they've been doing is working to build a database so that we have all the oils A to Z on our website, which a lot of them have already been put there. So put that in your calendar. Every third Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, oils A to Z. Then Aisha Harley and her Essential Wellness community, they're bringing back the Empowered Life series, which is an incredible deep dive webinar into a specific subject. These are quarterly webinars, second Wednesdays in June, October, and February. So the first one is June 10th at 12 p.m. And if you remember, we had a lovely woman speak about her journey with cancer and how she changed some of the products in her home. That was Stephanie King. She's going to do this deep dive, hour-long webinar about thriving beyond cancer and what she has done in her life to change her habits, her cleaning products, using the oils, and how she's been able to thrive beyond cancer. So put that on your calendar, June 10th at 12 p.m. Now, if you want information about any of these events, just go to hellovisionary.life/events. You'll get the Zoom links, the times, all the details. Here's that webinar, that encore from Ariana Harley, Oils for Grief. So put it on your calendar for Wednesday, May 13th at 12 p.m. We just want to get a good recording so we can put it up on the Oil Talks. And so if you want to join again, or somebody missed that webinar, this is going to be a great chance to come and hear her incredible talk about grief once again. Then if you just want a screenshot of that, this is the Thriving Beyond Cancer webinar with Stephanie King. I think you should start promoting it right now. There's so many people out in the world that need to know the information Stephanie is going to share. So please, please tell them. And then in May, we have 2 opportunities for an introductory class. So if you have a friend that you want to introduce to essential oils, bring them to our introductory class online Tuesday, 4 p.m., May 5th and May 19th. It'll be one of our essential oil educators teaching this class. So those are my announcements. We will see you back here on Friday, and then we'll have one more oil talk on the following Wednesday. And then we encourage you to go through and review all these oil talks. Make sure you soak up all this information. There has been so much. This is like 12 years of learning that we have downloaded to all of you. And I'm just going to check some of these questions.
Erin?
Community call. Yes.
Oh, we have one more just little caveat about our internal talk. Can I share that now, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
This is just a little testimonial from Mandy about safety with internal use vaginally. So we just want to make sure everybody knows. And she has had the experience of having too intense of a concentration and actually have a little bit of a burning. So you can test that by putting a little in the nose or in your ear. And also using your finger rather than the actual tampon if you're super sensitive. So she's written out a great thing in the chat. So make sure and read that. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe and doesn't cause any harm to their delicate tissue. So Mandy, thank you for that. Back to you, Erin.
Thank you. So I actually forgot what I was going to say. I'm pregnant.
Are there any questions about all of our events?
Yes. Okay. So someone was asking, is everything up on the website permanently up there for recording? So yes, we put everything up on the website. The only thing that's not is Oil Talks, but it will be up on the 29th after our last Oil Talk call. And just checking to see if there's any other questions.
Terry, did you have a question? I see your hand up.
The community call starts on May 13th. Bert is asking, yes, you have time to invite people and get that in your calendar. Heather, we don't have the ability to have the chat comments. Oh, but Roser's saying you can save the chat. I don't know how to do that, Roger, but that's awesome. Next to file. Great. So if anybody, we'll give you a moment to save this chat because there is a lot of good info in there. Although we do our best to get that up in the notes.
I'd like to just remind everybody to do your Archer. Do your Archer twice a day. Take care of your heart and lungs. Take care of your neck and head, all this computer sitting. Didn't that feel good? It was so easy. Thanks for receiving that, y'all. And thank you, Dana, for all of your good hard work on this presentation.
Yes, and thank you everyone for coming and being with us. It's been a pleasure to spend time with you today, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.